Hey there, Dietitian Teresa here, and I'm coming at you with a video, and we're going to just talk about a 5-step strategy on how you can save money while grocery shopping. We're in 2025, and I know that the grocery budget can get a little tight, and a lot of clients of mine do say, bring that up as well, that yeah, the grocery budget has changed for them in their journeys, and everyone's going through it. If you are balling on a budget these days, and you want some tips, and specifically this is going to be geared towards building a balanced meal to be focused around building it around a protein source so that we can maintain your muscle tissue, and it will be focused on building a balanced plate so that it is blood sugar friendly, so that your blood sugars aren't hitting this roller coaster all day long. You are building meals that are great for your body and your energy systems, your metabolism, but also great for fueling a family or your significant other and the people in your household so that you know they are getting nourishment as well. Now, before we dive into this, I want you to take a zoom out perspective. Some of these recommendations you might question, right? I'm gonna mention potatoes, I'm gonna mention rice, I'm gonna mention those types of foods and canned items, frozen items, because those are things that are easy for most people when you're on a time crunch or on a budget. So take a zoom out perspective. I would encourage you to do so, because when we start to zoom in on the things like, oh, that ain't organic, or that's not, are you telling me to eat potatoes when I'm trying to lose weight? I'm like, yeah, because they are actually a very satisfying food, but we're not gonna get into that detail, like explaining why potatoes can be part of a weight loss journey, can be part of a fat loss journey. Overall, just take a zoom out perspective. These foods are whole foods in nature. This is whole foods focus, and I want to encourage you to do the best you can with the budget you are able to right now. Let's dive right into the steps, and I'm going to take you through my little 5-step process, and this is ever evolving, but these are like the 5 steps that I would say from step 1 to step 5. This should get you to operating on a better budget for your groceries and making sure that you're getting the most value out of the food and meals that you're eating. Let's dive into step number 1, which is starting with a protein-packed plan. Now, whenever I go to make my plan, I try to build it around the protein. Protein keeps you full and satisfied for a long period of time, and also helps stabilize your blood sugars after you eat that meal. It also supports muscle development if you're in that journey, supports maintaining lean muscle tissue if you're in a fat loss journey. So we want protein in our diet, and especially as women, because protein is like a driver to enhance like the builders of hormone regulation and also enzymatic production. First, I would say is to plan your meal around an affordable protein. First step would be do a pantry and a freezer, fridge inventory. What do you already have on hand for your protein sources? Do you have chicken? Do you have turkey? Do you have beef? And then if you have that stuff on hand, you might just think, oh, I'm gonna use what I have in the freezer, in the fridge, wherever, and use that to build my meal out. Start with what you have, and then if you don't have any proteins, we gotta think about what can you get. So when you're making that list and thinking about the protein sources, think about easy to grab options. So it's nice to have maybe like a can of tuna, canned chicken, canned salmon varieties in your cupboard, to have it for those days where you're like running low on things and you just don't want to prep or cook anything. Another affordable protein source really comes down to looking out for sales. So look in the ads, download apps of the stores you're shopping at, and usually they have like coupons and sales going on. So that way, if you see that ground beef is going on sale and you're like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna go buy a bunch of ground beef so I can make a meal around ground beef. That concept there. You could also go for, if you're going for more, trying to do a couple of plant-based meals, more the beans and lentils route, can also be a very cheap variety. Eggs, I always say eggs are a cheap variety, and I know when I'm making this video, eggs are like a crazy price right now, but they will come back to realistic prices one day. And so eggs are such a great staple in the household too, if you can tolerate them. Chicken breasts, chicken thighs, ground turkey, lighter dark meat. Again, do the best you can. So step number 1 is to really prep your list around the protein that you already have. That brings us into step number 2, which we're thinking, how do we build a balanced meal? So we want to think about filling in with affordable whole food options. So what this means to me is like whole foods give you fiber, nutrients, and help regulate your blood sugar because they're whole foods in nature. They offer more variety. Now, some budget-friendly ideas for you in the whole food realm would be to go for more the frozen produce, so frozen veggies and frozen fruits. They are often cheaper and they do have a longer shelf life. A lot of clients say, oh, I don't like the texture of that. Fine, like that's okay. You can buy fresh if you don't love the texture of frozen, but when you're balling on a budget, sometimes you just gotta like grow up sometimes. And I mean that with the goodness of my heart, like grow up and like learn to like some things if it means like staying within the means of your budget. You're not really losing out on, again, zoom out perspective, you're not losing out on a ton of micronutrients in fruit or vegetables these days. Thinking about that in the grand perspective, do the best you can. Then you want to move into, you know, those shelf stable items. Your some whole grains you can add in there. So like I love rolled oats. And doing like basmati rice, you could do jasmine rice, brown rice if you like that, quinoa, those are great options. Beans can be another option in this complex carb category to add some more fiber and carbs to the meal, and a little bit of protein too. And then you have other whole foods, potatoes, onions, carrots, apples, bananas are really honestly budget friendly, probably the most budget friendly rather than like fresh berries and that kind of stuff, especially nowadays. So those are the foods that are really kind of like low cost starters, and you can make a bulk of meals like with potatoes, with carrots, with onions. Apples go a long way. They're very like stable like on the counter or in the fridge. And bananas, of course, can go fast in the household as well. So the second step would be to think about the foods that you can fill in with affordable whole foods to build a balanced meal. One more like tip to give you here in this like step 2 is to shop the value or the in-season vegetables and fruits. And you can look up online like what season, like in-season vegetables and fruits, and it'll give you like a calendar year where you can find that yourself. And usually those types of produce are best in those seasons. So like it's gonna become watermelon season when I'm recording this video, berry season, that kind of deal. So you can really get the most bang for your buck and a better quality tasting produce. Then we move into step number 3, which is I want you to think simple here. I want you to think simple and repeatable. What can you have on repeat for meals? This helps reduce food waste, also saves you time, also can really help you make blood sugar friendly meals pretty easily. What is this? How do we do this? So think about like this is a meal formula, which is pretty standard, and it's gonna vary depending on what phase of fitness or health you're in. Essentially a basic foundation of a meal formula. You got your protein, you got your fiber-rich carb, so a complex carb, and a healthy fat source. And then if you are somebody that's on a fat loss or a weight loss journey, you might want to consider adding in more volume from vegetables and fiber. So you're increasing nutrients and fiber without increasing a ton of calories, because like technically you have to be in a slight calorie deficit to make like weight loss or fat loss happen, versus like a performance realm where you might not need as many veggies on your plate and you might want to just focus on the protein, carb, and fat formula. So it can vary in different fitness phases. So some examples of a balanced meal could be, you know, if you did like a Greek yogurt parfait, you have Greek yogurt, like 3/4 cup Greek yogurt at the bottom, throw in like a cup of berries for extra fiber and that's carbs. And then for the fat source, you could add like a couple tablespoons of chopped walnuts or a couple tablespoons of like drizzled peanut butter to have all the balance of the fiber, the carb, the protein, and the fat. And then that's very satiable. But good thing for you, as the viewer in this video, I do have a freebie linked down below that gives you some example repeatable meals you can have, starting with the protein, and then you add your fiber, you add your carb, and your fats. And it's a basic foundation. It has chicken recipes, turkey, salmon, and beef and steak right now. That's what I have, and I have one page that's like a plant-based option. So that's what I have for you, and I would love for you to download it. It's free, it's your guide. I want to add as much value into that. It's like a 23-page PDF, and I'm going to continuously add to it. But right now you can snag it, and then you can get ideas from there onto how to build like an affordable, balanced meal that's gonna leave you feeling energized, satisfied, and help you towards whatever phase of health you are in, fitness you are in right now. This moves into step number 4. So use a grocery list to stay focused. This really cuts those impulse buys and really helps keep you within budget. Another thing that has really helped with some clients is just doing Instacart, and it's worth it to them to just shop online and have somebody else pick it up for them, so that really decreases the impulse buys. But go in with a list. What I've done is I just use my notes app, and I will just put into different categories: proteins, carbs, produce, frozen, pantry, fats, and then I list those foods in those categories so that when I go into the grocery store, I'm like, oh, if the bubble isn't checked, then therefore I need to pick that up at the store. And so that can be a really great way to kind of quickly like categorize it. Because if you just start writing out on your list, like, oh, I need chicken, potato, then a frozen item, then a canned item, all down the line, you're gonna be bopping around the store like crazy. So think about sections in the store. Produce, there's a produce section. Frozen, there's a frozen section. Meat, there's a meat section. So go towards those sections. It'll really help decrease that like stress of going into the grocery store. And then sticking to the outskirts of the aisle, of course, is gonna get you more of the wholesome foods, like fresh foods, that kind of stuff, to really serve a really good purpose. The bonus tip here from me to you would be to focus on this like 90% of your week. 90% of the time, focus on these foods. Save 10% for those meals out, those spontaneous, oh, I got home really late, okay, we literally have nothing in the fridge right now, let's just whip up something really quick. And it may not be the perfect balanced meal, but it is the next best thing. So save, it's a zoom out perspective. It's not an all or nothing. Just really do the best you can with this. And this moves me into step number 5, which this is a game changer and has been a game changer for me. And that is batch cooking and buying in bulk. Buying your basic staples in bulk can actually help you save money in the long run when you're looking at it. Think about your potatoes, oats, things you eat often in your household, eggs, meat. So we get our chicken and beef in bulk. Also thinking about like frozen produce. I always buy frozen berries. I buy frozen vegetables always to have on hand, because you can get a huge bag at like Costco or Sam's Club or a bulk item store. If you don't have a membership, just do the best you can. Again, always do the best you can. I know at Walmart, at Hy-Vee's, at Aldi's, like you can just buy a bunch of vegetables at one time, so you know you have those in the fridge if you need it at one point. Batch cooking is something that can really help reduce the urge to get takeout. So let's say in the beginning of the week, what I say for absolute starters, absolute beginners, I want you to choose one protein, one carb source, and one veggie that you can prep and mix and match in a meal. Then you can eventually evolve into maybe 2 proteins, 2 different carb sources, and 1 or 2 different vegetables, so you can like mix and match your meals so you're not stuck eating the same repeat meal day to day. And think about, again, those times where you come home and you're like, I'm so exhausted, I don't want to cook something or thaw chicken and prep it. I know I'm not doing that if I'm tired at the end of the day. So if you have a bunch of chicken made up from at the beginning of the week, you could just throw that in with the next best option. Maybe you have some ready to go rice in the pantry, and you have the frozen veggies in the freezer. You can make a meal under 10 minutes with that. And then it doesn't give you the excuse to spend a bunch of money going for takeout, and then you're feeling bad about it because you don't feel that great after eating the takeout, and you know, like, hey, you're doing the next best thing for yourself. Again, to recap, smart bulk buys would be like the oats, rice, beans, nut butters, frozen meats, and canned goods. If you find that your household is eating things on repeat, pay attention to those things and maybe pick up them in bulk the next time you go grocery shopping. So I want you to think about that. My perspective on healthy eating is that it doesn't have to break the bank. And with a little bit of planning and smart swaps and a flexible, adaptable mindset, you can truly fuel your body well and stay on a budget. And let me know in the comments below if what your go-to budget meals are. I would love to hear more ideas for people to see and work off of each other. Don't forget to download that freebie down below. The link is in the description, as it's full of a wealth of information. Like I said, it's about 23 pages. I think that's how many pages I have it to right now. I just want to give you guys some guidance on that nutrition does not and should not be that hard. And we start overthinking it and zooming in on certain things like, oh, this one thing's gonna make or break my health. Look at what you're doing 90% of your day, your weeks. That's what truly adds up to your health in the long run, those blood results, your body comp results, your performance results in the long run. So I hope this video helped you take this 5-step process, and I want you to implement it this next week, or at some point the next time you gotta go grocery shopping, try it out and see if it works. Hit that like button if this video resonated with you, and hit that subscribe so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you stay strong, stay nourished, and I will see you in the next one.